there's a storm coming, and it don't look good. Years ago, I worked at a golf course during a couple summers of my college days, and I was on the greenskeeping crew. That means I mowed grass, and my days usually began with mowing some greens in the morning and then spending the rest of the day either mowing grass or fertilizing or watering, something to do with caring for, manicuring the course. And on one particular day, I had my assignment to mow some greens, and then the rest of the day I was to spend with another group of coworkers repairing some damaged turf. We had to tear it up and plant new seed. We had a big tournament coming, and we were trying to get the course prepared. And so we were working at it. Well, as I finished mowing my greens, before I was done with the last green I was mowing, my greens mower broke down. Now breakdowns happen all the time, but this one unfortunately was my fault. I got it repaired. I shook off the mistake and I went back to work. Well, as I was working later on the repairing the turf, my utility cart that I was working with got a flat tire. Now, flat tires happen all the time, but this one was my fault. I had ran over one of the garden tools and destroyed one of the tires. I got it repaired and I tried to shake it off, but it was appearing it was going to be one of those days. Have you ever had one? A storm was coming, and both figuratively but literally. Later that afternoon, there was a storm predicted. It was building on the horizon. It was coming. And so the boss came and he asked me to take the utility cart that I had and drive over all of the repaired areas, to push the new seed down into the dirt so that it wouldn't get washed away if we got a heavy rain. So I began doing that, and the storm was building, and so I was going fast, and I ended up going probably where I shouldn't have gone with the utility cart I shouldn't have been using, driving faster than I probably should have. See, when we ruined the tire, when I ruined the tire and we repaired it, normally we would have replaced it with another knobby turf tire that gave you traction. We didn't have one, and so they had replaced it with a smooth golf cart tire. And so anyway, I'm driving back and forth, and I ended up on this hillside between the number 3 tee box, the golf cart path above, and a lake below. You can see where this is going, right? I'm going back and forth on that hillside, and suddenly, because I had 3 slick tires and only one knobby tire to give me traction, I lost control, and I began sliding towards the lake. In fact, I ended up outside of the driver's seat, outside of the golf cart, holding the golf cart, trying to keep it from going in the lake, and I succeeded, my youthful strength gave me benefit that day, and I stopped the golf cart, but it started rolling backwards, and before I could get back in the driver's seat and push the brake, it had hopped over a rock embankment and was high-centered, stuck in a drainage spillway that came down the hillside into the lake. Wanting to get out before any of my coworkers saw that I had messed up again, right? The storm was now fully built, lightning was striking, and I wanted to get out of this situation before anybody saw me. I'm talking about the figurative storm, the storm building in my anxiety, my frustration, my emotions. And so I didn't have traction going forward, but I could feel that it got traction in reverse, so I put it in reverse and floored it, and sure enough, it hopped right out of that spillway and onto the other side. Unfortunately, before I could get it stopped, I found myself waist deep in the lake. Waist deep in the lake, and I was still sitting in the golf cart. There was no hiding the situation now. I waded up out of the lake, and standing there on the side at what I had done, the final disaster of the day, the storm in full swing, working with a bunch of people that were fluent in cursing a situation such as this. I got to tell you, I was tempted. I was ready to let the thunder roll. And feeling my frustration at that bursting point, I did what any person probably would do. I knelt down beside the lake and I prayed. Not for the situation, what was done, but I prayed for my attitude and the reaction that I was tempted to give. My co-workers had seen what had happened and were running to help. Some of them likely laughing, some of them shaking their head. And I understood this. See, they knew I was a Christian. They knew that I was training in college to be a preacher. And they were wondering how I was going to handle this situation. In fact, one of them asked me later on the drive back together to the shop. He said, "So, did you swear?" And I said, "You know what? I was tempted, but instead I prayed." You see, the world is watching us as believers in Christ, not just to see how we respond when the sun is shining, but probably more so to see how we react when the storm is raging. And Christ tells us this. He says, "Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven." See, the world is watching for our failure. What we need to show them is the win. And to do that, we need to lean not on our own understanding. Instead, we need to trust in the Lord with all our heart, even in storms, the storms of life, and storms perhaps like the one we're all in right now. Let the world see us and watch us win. Let's let our lights shine. Hey, I'm Pastor Mark, and this is Everything Rhymes with Coffee. Please like, comment, and share, and as always, until tomorrow, may the Lord bless you and keep you.